that character. I actually think Squirtle might struggle a little bit with Hero because Hero's up B out of shield actually sounds like a really good tool against Squirtle. Yep, there it is. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be doing another Japanese player review. This time we're looking at Hero. A viewer requested me to look at Akakikusu, who is arguably the best hero in the world, and we got a lot to learn from his gameplay. What Akakikusu does very well is deciding whether he wants to be on the ground or in the air, and his mix between the two is just amazing. Whenever he's in the air, he also gets a lot of mileage out of his mix-ups, and we're gonna go really deep into what gets him that much reward. Finally, of course, Hero is a very strategic character. You really have to think about how you manage your resources, and that is very interesting for any character that has some sort of resource. So if that interests you, keep on watching. If you have any suggestions for new character reviews, leave them in the comments down below and I'll get to them ASAP. Let's get the video rolling. So guys, today we're going to be looking at, I'm going to read it, Akakikusu. Who's a Japanese hero player, arguably the best hero in the world. And honestly, so in my Discord, I talk with Chalice about Hero a lot because I think it's a pretty interesting character. And in case you didn't know, when Hero was announced, I actually was like, hey, I might actually end up maining this character. I didn't end up maining this character because I don't like the RNG mechanics. I'm not a big fan of those. I like the consistency of something like Shulk, right? But I like talking about the character a lot because I think the character is very interesting. The thing about the character that's interesting to me is that he's one of the few mid to long range characters in the game, right? So if we think about like mid range characters, we think about like Palutena, Lucina, but Hero, he really operates from a longer range, but he's not quite like a long range character. He's not something like a Duck Hunt or a Samus that wins from the long range. He kind of chills out at long range, gets his buffs, maybe sets up a side B, and then like enters the mid range and plays from there. So in that regard, he's a very unique character. However, I also think he's not the greatest character. I think he's like mid-tier-ish, maybe like if you're being kind, he's like at the lower end of high tier. But I personally think he's mid-tier-ish. What Charlie's asked me is to review some hero sets. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at Akakikusu, and we're gonna see what we can find. And kind of, I really want to see, you know, how does he make the character work? Because I know he's beaten like Kobe before, and I think the VOD is in here. I think this VOD is against Kome, but we're going to save that one. We're going to look at, I think, the grand finals against Atelier first, who is a Pokemon trainer. So let's take a look. We can balance the audio. Ikimashou. Okay. So I like this, right? So one of the things that I think a lot of hero players do wrong is that they instantly like open the menu, where I think charging your neutral B is a lot more consistent. Because your neutral B is, of course, it's not like RNG, right? So having it fully charged, it's such a great move at getting out of disadvantage. If you're on a ledge, you can like do like ledge drop jump neutral B, and it's like a very safe way to get out of the off of the ledge. You can use it, I think in some confirms as well, but don't quote me on that. Either way, it's like a very powerful tool if you know your opponent's going to be waiting for you. Throw out the neutral B, get a lot of shield damage or damage in general. So from the get-go, I like what I'm seeing. I'll move my cursor. Nice empty landing, and there it is, exactly the neutral B coming through. Not having enough time to charge, so it goes for the menu. Very interesting. Look at that bounce; it's so convenient. Yeah, a lot of anti-hops. Side B, yep. Such a good landing option for Hero, right? So if you ever contest Hero on landing, watch out for the side Bs. Even the short side B, very safe, very fast, and yeah, just a lot of damage too, honestly, for such a fast move. I like his MP balancing too. Seems to be, you know, pretty reserved at the menu. Okay, well, I mean, never mind. Immediate thwack, just throws it out there. This is the nice thing about reviewing Japanese heroes. I have no idea what he's costing until I see the spell. Yep. Oh, good luck on the Ivysaur. So basically, he can land, I think, 3 or 5 positions across the stage, and you have to guess if you want to punish it. And he gets right there. So we're back to neutral. Charges in neutral B again. Yo, what's up, Hive Steel? Yeah, I'm gonna be looking at it after this game. Oh, good stall with the switch. Now his neutral B is useless. So that's like the disadvantage, right? What's up, Hive still, by the way? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's hard to see the menu, but I like it still. It adds a little bit of tension. Okay. What I really like about Akakikusu that I see so far is that he really has a nice balance between like ground moves and like air moves. So like right here he falls out with the forward tilt, right? And then there's like the jump to get a little bit of retreat on the side B. So like the way he decides when he jumps and when he stays grounded is very, very well balanced in my opinion. Bad double jump, but he gets away with it. He does dash forward a lot. That is very surprising to me. Yep, so here comes the grounded shields and then gets the punish. That's very hard to punish actually. Down smash tries to get to the ledge hang. I like the awareness. He's pressuring Atelier in the sense that he's forcing Atelier to pick an option. Not just on the ledge, but in neutral too. Alright. Accelerato gets him off the ledge for free. I like the little mix-up here. When he just air just down and then Charizard dashes to the center stage, thinks he's going to like be jumping over using Accelerato, and then, you know, little mix-up. Oh, a little bit greedy. And the up air. Yeah, the up air is really weak. Up air is really weak, so I think that's actually one of the hero's main weaknesses. What's the name of this PT? It's Atelier. You can see the Twitter tag right here after I press play again. When should you decide to play in the ground versus in the air? Yeah, so for Hero, it's actually pretty straightforward because Hero doesn't really have great rising aerials. He can do like a rising side B, which is okay, but it's pretty slow still. So generally, Hero only jumps when he gets to... he should only jump when he tries to like set up a good situation. So if you think the opponent's going to be respecting you, you can use that time to set up a jump, right? If you're a Hero player. If you play something with like a good rising Nair like Palutena or Shulk or Link, you can be jumping a whole lot more because the Nair effectively serves as a ground move, right? Because you start on the ground, you do the Nair, and then by the time the move's over, you're back on the ground again. So it's kind of like a better ground tool. That's how MK Leo uses a lot of jumping, is he does like jumping Nair, and he kind of treats it as like a ground move, right? So generally we jump when we try to set up a good situation, and we stay in the air when we want to be more flexible. So if you are not sure what your opponent's going to do, you're better off staying on the ground so you can have more options with which to react to your opponent. And generally as well, like your ground moves are faster. So like, again, if you have a good Nair, might not be true. So like Link doing a rising Nair, about as fast as Link doing like a down tilt, right? But for something like Hero, doing a forward tilt is way faster than doing a rising Nair. Up tilt is so good. I agree, it's really good. But he had the oomph there, so I think in a lot of like what he does a lot, what Akakikusu does a lot, is he kind of like he lets it rip. You know what I mean? Like look at this. He opens the menu, sees his shield, he just runs up and grabs you. And I think letting it rip is it's a good thing if you have a character that can do it, right? But not every character can do it. It's just that Hero has a lot of indirect threat because of his menu. That he often gets away with it. But that grab too, like that grab was definitely not a punish, but he was just like, I'm gonna, you know, call you out if you shield here. So in other words, these type of players, I like to call them active players in my, you know, in my reviews and my coaching sessions, because they like to be active. They like to strike first. And that can be an advantage in the sense that they can put themselves in situations that other players do not put themselves in, but it also lets them miss opportunities, right? So this is an example of being a very active player. He's like, if you hang on a ledge here, I'm gonna hit you. So in other words, he's basically saying you have to deal with my options constantly, but if the opponent plays defensively appropriately, then the options don't really work. And I think so far, if you look at how he's been playing the set, he's been playing so actively that the pressure of something like Oomph or Psych Up can be leveraged well by just reacting to what the opponent does rather than taking the initiative yourself. Because most of the things he does aren't like reactions, right? So if you look at this, it's like, okay, walling back air, not a reaction. The shield, even if the shield was attacked, like Hero cannot get a big reward out of it in this situation, right? So it's not really a reactionary thing either, it's more of a defensive thing. It's not like he's waiting for his opponent to do something. And then the run up tilt is kind of the same thing, right? So it feels like he is reacting to the opponents, but he's not taking the time to actually like sit there and wait for the opponent to do something like a roll or a jump and then react from there. It's more like I'm reacting to the situation and I'm going to force you to deal with the option that I have for this situation. You mentioned Leo would nair when jumping to cover air to ground. But when I do that, I feel like I sometimes get hit. Well, you are sometimes going to get hit. And that is just kind of the nature of the game. In that the sense that there's no like hitbox that doesn't lose to other hitboxes in the game outside of Palutena back air. But even then, you can like jump over it, etc., etc. So keep in mind that even when you do something that is correct, you might still get hit for it because your opponent could read you. So it's a little bit hard to give you advice when you just say, hey, sometimes I get a hit for getting naired, because the only thing I can say to that is, yes. What's up, Aeon? Hope you're doing well. Glad to see you around. Yeah, so very, yo, we got the first 10 months. That's sick, dude. Thank you, Warpstar. 10 months resub. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome back to the club. 10-month streak, too. That's awesome. So far, we can see that Aka, I'm just going to call him Aka. So Aka, very active player, and a very good balance between jumping and ground game. Really like that. Really enjoy that balance. Look at that. Like the jab to intercept, and then the second time he approaches, it's a nair, right? So the first time, we can see right here, jab. And then the second time, same situation, he nairs. Really good. Akak. Okay. Akake. Akak? I don't know. Akak. Alright, fully charged, a V, nice, and then the walling back here. I actually think Squirtle might struggle a little bit with Hero, because Hero's up B out of shield actually sounds like a really good tool against Squirtle. Yep, there it is. Come on, guys. Come on. You cannot tell me that I didn't call that shit from miles away, right? So, yeah, I actually think normally Hero's out of shield. You must have had a vision. You must, like, in a lot of situations, I actually think Hero's out of shield isn't the greatest. But because Squirtle cannot really space himself too well, he actually gets caught by the up B a lot more than the average character would. I actually imagine this matchup being pretty evenish. Just do it. Heal. Back throw. Yep. Neutral B is still charged. What's up, DVD? What's up, Chris? I really think, like, keeping your neutral B charged is way more important than opening your menu. Unless you're in a situation where you cannot fully charge it. You know what I mean? Yo, Cars, thank you for the follow, man. Oh, that's a shame. Hang on, let me rewind. I was reading chat. Let's go, Ramses. It's a shame I missed your webinar. How often do you do them? About once every 2 months. So, in about 2 months, we're going to get another one. Still have to figure out what the subject is going to be. I've been, you know, brainstorming some ideas, but I want something that really makes me go like, Yeah, the uncharged up B really isn't great against most characters, but against Squirtle, it sounds really good. Something like Sheik would probably struggle with it as well. Yeah, hey guys, how are you guys doing? Glad to have you in the chat. Or Pikachu. Yeah, sure, for sure. His tomahawks are so good too, honestly. And I think that is why his jumps work out so well, is because he knows how to mix up his jumps so well. So it's like he doesn't just do like a jump landing aerial. He does like a jump tomahawk too, or like a jump empty down tilt, or jump empty grab. And when he has fully charged neutral B, he can also do like a jump into like the fully charged neutral B on his shield, just let it rip. If it hits, you're gonna take so much damage or just die, right? And if he gets blocked, no big deal. Excuse me. So I think generally, like, the way he mixes up his landings are really good. And I think so I can talk from this perspective, from like a sword fighter perspective, right? So when I play Shulk, it can be very hard to tomahawk someone because someone can react to the animation of my aerial not happening and spot dodge, right? Because my aerials are so slow. But Hero has Nair, and Hero's Nair is actually pretty fast, like unreactable enough to lead into a true tomahawk. And I think Hero's Nair is actually super underrated aerial. It can be a good juggling tool, it can be a good pressure tool, it can be a combo starter, etc, etc. Really good usage by Akak. Feel a lot better in my gameplay. Let's fucking go. Even up air sometimes. Yeah, I can see up air too. I think up air, not the greatest tool, not the greatest up air to have, because generally you want to have like a killing up air to prevent someone from recovering high. But in pressure situations, it can be really tricky. It can be really, really tricky. Yeah, and here he messes up the recovery. A shame. He could have made that easily. He just kind of messed up. Okay, so we're not going to Squirtle. Makes sense. Fully charged neutral B. Get that on deck. I think that's Oomph. The one where he does like the Super Saiyan pose. It main Lex coverage. I mean, it doesn't really kill either. Oh, and there it is. Yeah, so some key takeaways that we've seen in that first game is like the mix between jumping and staying grounded. Jumping mix-ups. Having neutral be charged. And at which times to use the menu. So I think the nice thing about Akak is that when he has an advantage, he doesn't like overcommit in terms of menu. Like a lot of heroes will like hit you off stage and then dash back and hang out in the menu. Akak doesn't do that. He just like sits there and he's just like, okay, the menu's open. What are you gonna do about it, bitch? And then if they jump back, you can just cancel the menu and just hit them out of the air, right? One thing that I don't like about Akak is that he definitely doesn't really focus on reacting to the opponent. He doesn't really take the time to like he doesn't really use the pressure of like the presence of his moves to leverage good situations, right? And I think as hero that is very important, where you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here. How are you gonna deal with the fact that I even exist? You know what I mean? How are you gonna deal with the fact that I could like side B you or a neutral B you at any time, or oomph forward smash you, you know, stuff like that. Because let's be real, like it can be very hard to deal with like an oomph or a psych up hero, or like a fully charged neutral B, which is always a possibility. But I mean, he makes it work. He makes it work very well. I think the character, like we said, the character kind of works very well against Pokemon Trainer 2 in the sense that he mitigates a lot of Squirtle's pressure. And, however, it looks like Ivysaur can actually be pretty rough because Ivysaur usually loses to... They lose to like a combination of speed and swords, and Hero really only has one, but then he can either have Bounce or Accelerato and kind of like destroy the Cabbage Dog entirely. It's about as good as Up Tilt. Do I believe that? I'm going to take some time to actually look at that because for my own sake, I want to know what the difference in kill power is. So let's see. Hero against Banjo. Sure. We're going to go normal. We're going to select. Where's Up Tilt? Up Tilt hitbox 1. Sure. I don't know which one is the strongest. Let's see. Can I go down? Okay, these are actually the strongest. Okay. We'll take this one. Calculate KO percent with best DI. Pretty interested. So it kills at 164. That's actually pretty late. I thought Up Tilt killed a lot earlier. Not gonna lie. So if it's about as strong as Up Tilt, that would make sense because Up Tilt is a lot weaker than I thought it would be. So this is from the ground, obviously, so it's gonna be a lot weaker. Usually you hit up air higher up in the air. That's 229. So say that they're higher up in the air. Say that you hit them around here, right? Halfway to the camera edge. A little bit later, but it is about as good as Up Tilt. Yep, makes sense. Pretty interesting, honestly. Did not expect that. But then again, I mostly did not expect that because I thought Up Tilt was stronger than that. But yeah. So let's go into game 2. Because Psych Up is busted, that is fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah, dude, Hero's buffs are so unique. Gotta hit him with a tiny hitbox first. It's fast though. It is really fast. And I mean, if you die to Up Tilt, you just got kicked to death, which is pretty metal in my opinion. Yep, so we get the neutral B. The charge mix up too. Very, very well done. Yep. Squirtle combo. Ooh. Back air. Just a nair, just basically fast haul nair. Okay. Yep. No punish. Is this offline? I think it is, yes. Up air. Nice. That looked like offline. Yep, nice grab right there. Again, Akak just does it. So it's like you landed in front of me. You're gonna shield. Okay, well, here's the grab. You know what I mean? It's just monkey see, monkey do, which is not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. Definitely something that can get you very far. Mr. R is the same kind of player. These are often like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Core 8 gaming video. Have you guys ever seen the Core 8 gaming video where they talk about mind players, hard players, and body players? So body type players are often more likely to be like, okay, so that's what happens, so that's how I'll react, right? So it's not really about like the long-term strategy or like the read. It's about like, okay, I see what happens, I'm gonna react to what happens. So yeah, very can be very good, can be very strong if especially if your opponent is a little bit more of a defensive player, because defensive players like to be like, okay, I'm just gonna shield here because what's the worst that could happen, and then you get your punish. Whereas some like a mind or a hard player won't be able to directly punish that because, for example, they will be waiting for, I don't know, they will be waiting for the roll, or they're like, hey, why would I grab here? You know, that the reward isn't worth the risk, etc., etc. Yep. Up smash, just throw it out there. Could be a shield break. Mm-hmm. Nice bathroom usage by Atelier. Atelier is so consistent with Pokemon Trainer. It's really, really good to see. I think they're probably like the best Pokemon Trainer in the world since Tweak dropped Pokemon Trainer. Okay, Kaboom gets shielded. Yeah. So one thing that I don't like about Akak is that he uses a lot of jab to keep his opponent out. And I'm not a big fan of that. Like, I get it because it's kind of like a mix in and of itself. But he can, like, if you look at situations like this where he just kind of runs up and jabs, I think, like, if you expect your run up and your jab to succeed, you can use that time to set up a jump, right? Or you can do something like a down tilt, which is a bit more of a poke than jab, which can be way more committal. Not a big fan of the risk reward of that move specifically. But I do like the usage in general in terms of how he mixes it up. It's just that, is he playing the mix-up well enough? You know what I mean? So if you establish jab as like your layer 1, so to say, or your layer 0, I should say, do you actually use your jump-ins as a good mix-up? And he's been so successful with his jump-in mix-ups that I feel like he can get away with doing it way more than he's doing it right now. Yep, another mix-up there got thwarted by the Squirtle. Yep. And there's the neutral B. The landing mix-ups. We talked about it, guys. Having that neutral B is so key for a hero. It's not about the menu. I mean, the menu is great, don't get me wrong. But his fully charged neutral B is going to be... That's going to be the move that saves you in a pinch. You know what I mean? He could neutral B from... He could have neutral beat from the ledge there if he had the mana. Ooh, empty landing. Up smash. I love... Like, his... He really is a player. I've talked about this before with, like, players that feel like they jump too much. I'm like, okay, dude, the first thing you gotta do to fix your jumping is to treat an empty landing like your goat. Ooh. That was really good. Exactly, Chellies. Menus can force interaction because, you know, if you don't interact, he's gonna get his buffs. But you're not gonna get your buffs a lot in neutral if your opponent appropriately pressures. Meanwhile, you're gonna get so much neutral B charge even when your opponent pressures, right? I think that's Psycho. I never know. Now you got both. That's bad news. So I always tell people who jump too much, I just tell them, make empty landing your go-to option out of a jump. And go from there. So start with, like, it's not about landing aerials, it's about empty landings. And see where that takes you. And from there, you get such a good... you get so much better at pressuring from jumps because now you understand, okay, I only need to do an aerial if I know it's gonna hit. You get what I'm saying? Like, people do aerials because there's so little risk to it, but even though there is little risk to it, no, actually pause this. Even though there is little risk to it, which is true, you're also sacrificing advantages by doing a landing aerial because after the landing aerial, you're gonna be minus. Especially if you play something like Palutena or even like Lucina, right? A Lucina who's like in your face. If she doesn't space her forward air, she can basically like she can try to down tilt, but it's not the greatest. So in a lot of situations, I think starting off by empty hopping more and then transitioning into recognizing when you should empty hop. So an example of when you should empty hop is when you're doing a short hop and you see that the opponent didn't do anything, so there's nothing to punish with your aerial, so you empty hop. Another example would be you do an empty hop and your opponent's running at you, and you can see, okay, they're probably going to do run shield because they probably, they might have done it before, and you can see they're trying to mess with your spacing, so you do an empty landing. So empty landings is basically, it's a way better layer 0 out of a jump than an aerial, but only because people expect aerials, right? So if your opponent starts not expecting aerials, you need to start mixing them in, and that's where you get the reward, because landing aerials are super rewarding, right? If you get a landing back air as Palutena, you get a dash attack after. If you get a landing neutral air shulk, you can combo it into forward smash at times. Landing nair with Joker into grab combo. So in other words, you gotta play the meta. So the meta is if someone lands, they do an aerial. If you want to play the meta, you say if someone lands, you don't do an aerial. It's playing very anti-meta. You know who was really good at that? Nairo. Nairo did that all the time with Palutena. Like, if you look at Nairo play Palutena, he never up Bs to the ledge. He never walls you out with back air. He never throws at the dash attack. What he does is he knows, oh, my opponent knows Palutena. My opponent's going to be expecting dash attack, so I'm not going to dash attack. He always plays the meta. Very, very smart. I think utilizing empty landings is part of the reason I'm feeling a lot better about my gameplay. The other could be that I started playing Privileged City, aka Palutena. Hey, they could be related. They could be related. Palutena is one of the best characters at jumping in the game, after all. Yep, so against the jabs. See, okay, so actually, this is pretty interesting. So this came to mind, right? So when the reason why this jab works so well, whereas for other characters I wouldn't really like it as much, is because Hero gets so much out of advantage that is guaranteed. So he gets the jab, and then he gets the pressure, baits by going forward, dashes back, neutral B on the landing. Big damage. Look at that damage. That's like 40%. It's actually insane. So that entire interaction, that's like 10%, and then there's another 40 right there. In other words, Hero's advantage is like super, can be super polarizing. So you could let a jab when they're at like these percentages, right? When your opponent's at like 85, you could let a jab with Hero, go into the menu, get a buff, and then the buff could be the kill, right? And then a neutral B can control the stage very well after a jab too. So I think the reason why the jab works well for Akak in specific is because he gets so much reward out of his advantage that's kind of guaranteed because of menu. And then, he has a lot of leverage in terms of stage control because of neutral B. So if he didn't have neutral B, I think the jab would be a lot worse. If he didn't have his buffs, I think his jab would be a lot worse. So it's kind of like all the things working in tandem. He wins neutral with most at low direct reward because his advantage state is so good. Yeah, and I don't even think Akak has like a specifically amazing advantage state. I think his advantage state is fine, honestly. But like I said, I think he commits a little bit too hard at times. There could be a lot more situations in which he waits for his opponents, and he might get a lot more leverage that way. But what is so impressive to me is just the way, what is so impressive to me is the way he uses Hero's specials to basically control advantage state, in ways that people are definitely not used to. Yeah, exactly. He slides further on the advantage slider because he's Hero, because he has buffs, right? So it's like, you get hit by a jab, now you're playing against Hero with a buff, or Hero with a charged side B, stuff like that. It's very, like, we talked about this before, right? This is the dumbest jump in the game, when you try to jump back on the stage. However, you can get away with it sometimes because you can, like, air dodge to the platform, or, like, do your special that, like, flip jump out of it, or, have a safe landing aerial on the opponent, stuff like that. But Hero is one of the best characters at covering this because of his charged side B. So what he could do is he could literally, like, dash all the way here and, like, side B the entire stage from there, and that denies the jump back on in a lot of situations. So in these situations where you put your opponent just slightly off stage, he's actually one of the best characters because of his side B coverage, as well as his neutral B. But, I mean, like, Samus can do that too. But he actually got the hit before this because of that. Because of exactly that. Because he got the jab, Squirtle jumped back on, he dashed forward, Squirtle tried to, like, basically cross him up right here. And then he dashed back and he neutral B'd that way. And he covered, like, this entire area because of neutral B being so good. Oh, no, another crap. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? I don't know what the percentage chance is, but 86 is actually, it's actually a pretty decent chance, I think. But that's depressing for Atelier. Okay, I think we've seen enough about how he plays against Atelier. Let's go on to his set against Kome. I think he actually beats Kome, so that's pretty interesting. So I think this matchup is pretty bad for Hero personally, but we'll get into it. Yeah, if you're Atelier, you're definitely air dodging that. You're definitely air dodging that. Gotta take a look at the chart. All right, Chalice, tell me what the chance was. Okay, so this matchup is very interesting because both these characters are mid-long range characters. So we talked about this at the beginning of the stream. Hero is like a mid-long range character where they have a lot of long range capability, but they don't really win in the long range. They have to like play a lot of the mid range with like their sword normals, as well as some of their specials, right? But Hero can do, or Shulk can do a lot of similar stuff where he can play the long range and get his Monados, and then, you know, play strong mid range that has more range than other characters, which makes it a little bit of a mid to long range with, for example, his back air. It's about 50-50. Okay, fair enough. So hey, I mean, not a bad guess there for Akak. So let's take a look. Immediate. So this is how you can see that Kome is not a body player. Akak shields, a body player would just grab here because why not? You know, but Kome is like, no, I'm gonna mix you up. I'm gonna cross you with the nair. It's gonna be safer. It's gonna be better reward. And there you get it. So now Akak gets out. Good roll. Gets outboxed in the mid range, and then that up B still connects. That could have up beat there as well. Yep. Becker is such a good tool against that. But then, look at this damage. Look at this damage. He says 8.8%, right? 41.5. Are you kidding me? Look at the damage. That's like 33% because of one side being Buster. So generally, as Shulk, you don't want to be in Buster against Hero at all because of the side B damage. I actually almost lost in tournament against the Hero because I got hit by two side Bs and one in Buster, one in Jump, and it was like half my stock. And then like after that, like, you know, you're basically half that. So bad choice by Kobe for sure. Not worth the risk. Bad roll, honestly. I mean, he got hit by the side B because he rolled, but still, like, I would not even risk it. Yeah. He's barely winning neutral. Yeah. Again, look at the pressure. What's up, Jigglychamp? Look at this. That grab, so consistent with those anti-landings. Very, very nice pressure. Yeah, it's a trap that a lot of Shulks fall for, is that they kind of stick around in Buster when they don't really have an advantage, because it does have neutral advantages for Shulk, right? Yo, Godo, thank you, dude. Thank you for the resub. Got the Kirby in there. Appreciate it so much, dude. Thank you for tuning in. So let's see. So yeah, sticking around in Buster is like a very common Shulk mistake, because like it does give you a lot of neutral advantages, like having safer aerials on shield, or safer normals on shield in general. Better throw combos, stuff like this. Local Wi-Fi tournament, so I'm watching you and that. You got your priorities on deck, dude. But yeah, Akak making great use of that. Yep, try to guess with the smash. Now we're in jump again. This is scary. Just chases him down. Look at that. That's crazy, dude. Just calls out the backdash, like, all the way. That's actually really good. Yep, lands into the side B. We talked about this. Hero is one of the best characters at beating aggressive landings, right? So you never want to land aggressively against Hero. Shulk is actually one of the few characters who can, because Shulk has back air. So if Kome actually reacted here, if Kome was like, oh, I see the side B charge, he could have back aired. But instead he fast fell, and because he fast fell, he couldn't actually back air anymore. But he could have still, for example, like countered here, and a counter actually would have killed Akak here. So I think this is more Kome reacting poorly than you know, anything else. But I don't actually know if he knows that you can counter that pretty easily. Yeah, I play against Hope. I did beat Hope. I think 3-0. I'm playing against Space's hero as well, who also has a really good hero. And at my local, there's a hero player too. His name is Dark. He's pretty solid, has good fundamentals. So I have a lot of hero experience. So yeah, this is definitely very avoidable for shulk. But you really need to you need to zone break hero a lot with back airs as well as generally aggressive aerials. I don't know what that down special is all about. Yep. And now look at that. Now hero gets to jump back for free basically. So poor coverage by Kome. Neutral B, nice. This is really good for Kome. But he gets comboed instead. I also know a hero that has to tag Dark. He's at the top of my Peachy stats page. Poor you. Yep, so good mix-up by Kome. Goes back to center stage. No, he only plays hero. And Lucina as well. Gets the roll. Very nice. Very nice job, honestly. Jab. Nice Accelerato follow-ups. Man, this stock just... How does he get the damage? Neutral B misses. He gets a nair there. Yeah, Kobe playing way too aggressive. He also played... Again, that's true. So what you want to do as shulk is you want to harass with back airs. Because even if it gets parried, hero doesn't have a dash attack to punch with. So normally, a lot of characters can power shield or parry the back air. And, excuse me, get a dash attack off themselves. But hero cannot do that. So the fact that hero cannot do that means you can pretty freely just back air poke him all the time. And the only thing hero can do is full hop over it. And then full hop over it and basically try to get a landing aerial. But that's so slow and predictable. They can often punish it on reaction even if you back air. So pretty iffy aggression by Kome here, I would say. You can Zapple against spaced bears. But the Zapple requires a lot of time to set up. So in a lot of situations, shulk can actually react to the spacing and just avoid the Zapple entirely. Okay. It is reactable with counter too, yes. But it's a little bit harder if you jump at them. Because if you jump at them, you're also... Wait, that hits on the ledge? What the fuck? I didn't know that. So if you jump at them, it's actually... You want to back air, and you cannot back air too low to the ground, right? So you need to back air preemptively, basically. And if they Zapple, then... And you were already trying to back air, then you're kind of shit out of luck. But it's still a really good situation for shulk. If you're not in Buster. If you're in speed, it's very, very easy. So I didn't know that hit, and apparently Kome didn't either, which makes sense. Forward throw, nair, down air, nice. Good conversion, up B, that's guaranteed. Nair, oof. Nice pressure, that was really good. Back air, again, back air over Zapple, we talked about that. You can actually back air to shoot a lot of hero stuff. Not necessarily frame data wise. Oh, did I go forward accidentally? Not necessarily frame data wise. Wait, where are we now? Did we skip forward? Okay, there we are. So we get the up air. Yeah, so that was... I think that might have been a true punish out of shield because he nared it a little bit early. So, but forward air and back air I think are both pretty consistently up B out of shieldable. Nair only if they do it early. Bad reaction by Kome. Nice. Look at that. The back air, and then when Akak goes high, he just covers with the nair. Now Kome is fishing for a kill. That's bad news. Yep, that's kill. Okay. Yo, that's awesome to hear, SK. Saboya is awesome. I love that guy. Yep. Snooze. Oh, and then neutral B to contest. That was really good. So this is part of the reason why, you know, we need neutral B and neutral. It just plays to hero's range so perfectly. Yeah, I think the main thing we learn playing we learn watching Akak is how important neutral B is. I'm doing well, Jiggly. Hope you're doing well yourself. You didn't miss too many streams, honestly, because I've been having a lot of off-stream coaching sessions, so I'm happy to be streaming today again. Love the content here a lot. Glad to hear. Okay, nair pressure. Yep. forces a lot of reaction. Oh, that was it if he didn't double jump. No, don't jump. Do not jump. Jump is very bad against Akak. I think Komei does lose this set, yes. Buster. Daikiru? Is that the name of the art in Japanese? Oh, just run up tilt. And there's that read again. We've seen that time and time again. Just run up tilt when they want to jump. Because they react to the dash, they're like, I don't want to get grabbed. And then you just up tilt. Yep. I think Akak plays that mix-up very well, where he's like, because he dash grabs a lot, right? And then the up tilt is kind of like the strong mix. Let's watch one more game. And then we'll... Yeah. Komei usually loses against Akak. I know they played friendlies a while back and at a stream, and then Komei was basically winning everything. That was like, I think 2 weeks ago. What's up, Tubirachi? How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Ooh, the wave bounce on the Zapple. That's really good. That's actually really good. So here we see again, back air, bros. Shulk needs to use back air in this matchup. Though, in this situation, I don't blame Komei for messing up. Nice up tilt. That's such a bad reset. Komei not playing too well. You can definitely react to those air dodges and get like hard punishes. I don't know about using jump against Accelerato. Speed, on the other hand, against Accelerato is really good. Forward air. Air dodge. Down air. Nice. And now this is guaranteed. Yep. Oh, he lives? Nice. Look at that. I told you. It's guaranteed. This is why when we saw game 1, I was so surprised that Komei let Akak recover high back to the stage. Because, like, gimping hero is definitely a win condition. Ooh, that was bad by Akak, but it's okay. It was bad by Komei. Ooh. Talking about bad by Komei. Bad recovery right there. No need to overshoot like that. Like, you only overshoot if the opponent has great 2-framing options, but I don't think Hero actually has amazing 2-framing options, so you might as well just recover to the ledge, right? Yep, catches him in the menu. Dash tech. Be careful with those mid-range jumps. Komei definitely jumps way too freely in Akak's range. Nice stall on the smash heart. Wave bounce. Yep, and now speed is active, and now Komei can control the neutral. You can really see it. No double jump. This should be a kill. This should be a kill. Oh, okay. Yep, there you go. So basically, for Komei, it's very important to get shield art active, and that is kind of like a highlight of one of Hero's weaknesses, is that he cannot really handle pressure well. And of course, Speed Shulk is one of the best pressure characters in the game. And this is actually pretty cool. So here we see Komei waiting for his arts. And then he realizes, wait, if I wait for my arts, he gets both buffs, and then I'm in a world of hurt. So then he aggresses, gets neutral bead. Oof. Uses roll this time. That's interesting. So we see the dash into shield again, and this time Komei uses roll. So Komei adapting too. Oh, yep. It happens to the best of us. I'm so sorry, Komei. That sucks. That sucks. Reactable, by the way. Definitely reactable. But have you ever seen a Shulk main react to anything? No. Okay, that was a missed up B out of shield, but it's hard to up B out of shield at these percents. Yeah, look at this scramble. This is kind of unlucky for Komei, where Komei, like... So he uses a nair here to cover the ground. Uses another nair. This usually hits rolls. Gets this rising nair, barely misses him if you actually go back a few frames. Like, you can... It almost overlaps. You see what I mean? Like, it's super close. And the second nair, same story, and now he's back in center stage. So, very, very iffy pressure by Komei. Barely didn't get what he wanted. Nair, nice. So this is the nair coverage working out. Another nair, yep. Nair really strong against Hero because of his lackluster out of shield. They're not used to reacting, I guess. True. Zoom. Yeah, I like Akak stalling out arts. That's really good. Now Buster is active. Yep, jab, gonna be a lot of damage. Nair, very good. So here you can see actually Kome gets jabbed and he immediately wants to like return to the fray, right? Because if he doesn't pressure, he's gonna let Akak get like either neutral B charge or a lot of menu charge. So Akak recognizing that and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna aggress immediately, try to set up a good situation instead of, you know, going for the menu itself. Very, very smart by Akak. Good mix up. I think so. One thing that I think is very unique about Kome that I'm noticing in this set is that he doesn't really use a lot of up B out of shield. Where I think in this matchup especially, like up B out of shield is your main tool as shulk. Like it's like, well, it's not your main tool, but it's one of your main tools. There's a lot of things that hero does that can be up B out of shield, or you should try to up B out of shield just to like, just to show him like you cannot play too safely here. Yep, and now the pressure from speed. This should... Oh, the zoom. And the back air. Yep. This should be it. Oh, only forward air. Still, yep, still pretty guaranteed. Very well done by Akak and Kome both. But yeah, I think Kome's defensive play is not the greatest. I think he plays... Like, his aggression can be a little bit iffy, in my opinion. I remember hearing a few days back that it's possible for here to prime zoom when off stage, and then pull it 3 times to have a super high chance to pull zoom in combination with a higher chance of zoom when in the blast zone. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if you can intentionally prime it if you're in neutral. Up B out of shield. I'm surprised these up B out of shields are working, and like I'm surprised Kome is just not spacing well because hero is not fast enough to mess up your spacing. Big damage. And the side B again. Look at that. Look at the damage. No follow. That could have been big for Kome. If he got the follow after that forward air, that might have been like a big gimp. And now he gets nothing. Yep. Just take the throw, stall out, and smash is gone. That's advice for everyone playing as shulk. Akak playing very well. Almost died for the heal though. I'm surprised he lives all of these interactions. Akaka really likes rolling in when he's unsure of his shield's pressure, basically. Yeah, buffs. Rising Nair. Nair is really good against Acceleratle because usually to like weave around Nair you need a lot of precision. And Acceleratle doesn't really allow for a lot of precision. So pretty interesting. Or pretty good move usage by Kome. And there's the Psych Up or Oomph. Looks to be Psych Up. The way he's playing. Ooh, yep. That's actually... Okay, so I'm going to talk about shulk real quick. This is called a... This is a special tomahawk. Because this is a tomahawk without landing lag. Because instead of landing lag, you actually enter the pose. And the pose can be cancelled. So the tomahawk is faster than a normal tomahawk. If you do it with stance switching. It's good optimization by Kome. There's the zoom. Yeah, if you want to counterplay the zoom, you actually, like, you can do it as shulk, but you would have to switch to jump here and just chase after him already. But the fact that he doesn't do it immediately means that he doesn't get any pressure. But you can actually punish him for trying to get zoom. If you just go into jump yourself and just chase him off stage. Back air, yep. What the hell? Wait. What? Yes, it removes it. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. His up tilt crouches under shulk's forward tilt? What? Are you actually serious, dude? Does it remove the soft hard landing lag? Yes, it does. Hero low profile is really hard. This is DLC privilege. Yay, heard box shifting. Yeah, so Kome did the right thing. He just lost for doing the right thing. It's Inkling! That was bullshit. Should have angled downwards. If only Shulk could. If only Shulk could. Really good with punish by Kome. I'm about to go Inkling mode. Nice wave bounces. Yeah, so that's kind of like the other thing about side B is that if your opponent is not aggressing, it's actually not the greatest. Again, Buster. So this is 2 hits in Buster, right? 22 to 51 to 97. So you don't want to go Buster in neutral. I think, like honestly, more than anything, I think Kome played this matchup poorly in a lot of areas. Mainly, he doesn't use the right moves for good pressure, in my opinion. He doesn't defend as well as he could have. And, like, the neutral play in Buster, it loses him games, dude. Like, this game is lost because he stayed in Buster. His entire stock is gone in one Buster interaction. And, like, now he needs to either make a comeback or he's gonna lose. You know what I mean? Just a back throw. Yeah, Accelerato poops on shield now, actually. Nice, just roll. Side B. Yeah, so versus Hero, like, okay, so here's the hard thing about playing versus Hero, right? So you need to actively pressure him to prevent him from getting the menu. But if you actively pressure, he has hitboxes that beat yours. The thing is, Shulk's active pressure actually does really well against Hero's hitboxes. I'm surprised he lived that at that percent. Kome, please. Oh, now you die. Wait, he didn't die. That's definitely a punish, though. He just messed up. And then he messed up, too. Oh, air dodge. Nice mix-up. So I think, like, Kome's juggling is definitely a little bit subpar in this set, especially. I think generally, Shulk isn't the greatest juggling character. Oh, this is what we talked about, right? The pressure of just staying there and waiting for your opponent to do something. Very well done by Kome. And Aki, again, of Aka, again, he's a body type player, right? He just does what is in front of him. So in front of him was the smash, so he's just gonna shield. There's no reason to do anything extra. Good decision making. Double zoom, I should say. No, Aki, I'm just mispronouncing. What's up, Aki? By the way, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, interesting back and forth. I think we've seen about what we can out of this set. I think the first set was definitely the most interesting because in this set you can, like, I'm kind of focused on the mistakes that both players make matchup wise because I played this matchup so much. Whereas in the first game I could really I had a better idea of what both players were doing at all times. Whereas here I'm just like, okay, well that's wrong, well that's wrong, well that's not how you're supposed to do this. Even though, like, I mean obviously these players are really good, right? But there are some clear mistakes on both sides that I think warrant pointing out. But then, like, when I look at Akag, it's like his double jumps back to stage aren't great, and I know why he does them because if he's off stage he dies, right? But that doesn't mean like that the alternative is much better. He just gets away with it. So like, can you really call it a mistake? I mean, I can because I think it is. Like stuff like that shouldn't work. And if you mess that up, you actually take like 70% because it's Shulk and Buster. And now, you know, Kome is gonna gets hit once and Buster loses half his stock. Accelerato combos. Yeah, I think I've seen about what we're gonna get out of this game. Let's finish it for completionist's sake. It's about 1 minute on the clock. But yeah, like it's hard to judge the matchup by these matches when I feel like there's so many other things that these players could be doing better. Dead. Oh my god, that was the kaboom. Barely had enough mana for it too. That was really good. Akak playing very, very well, I guess. What we're gonna do is we're gonna play some viewer battles for